Welcome back to the Pit Stop Ranch. This video, we got our Harman Collins Magneto mounted up, everything timed, and button up the ignition system. Should be getting us that much closer to getting this turkey fired. Okay, so having cut my teeth working on old junk on Chevy small blocks and AMC straight sixes, one of the things that you frequently need to do while you're setting up an engine or putting stuff together is when you're stabbing a distributor on, you need to advance to top dead center number one cylinder. And that's super easy to do. Worst case scenario, you got to pull the valve cover off and check the rocker arms and just advance it so that the timing mark on the is at top dead center, or you look down the bore and you see it's at top dead center, and then you check the rock arms to make sure there's no tension on them. Though, to be fair, of late it seems like that method I'm still 180 out. There are no such marks on the 59A crank pulley. And there's no pointer on there to indicate if you advance it and retard it. If my memory serves, the way that the old timers would do it, one, they'd set the points using the thickness of a matchbook cover. And, well, one, there's only one way for this distributor to go in here in theory. Believe me, I can find a way to mess that up. But you'd set the timing advance by driving it, advancing the timing until you start getting knocking and pinging, and then you back it back down. I can't make this stuff up. It's actually in the manual, believe it or not. So, it's kind of a little bit of a challenge. Now, this is all buttoned up, and I've got to figure out how to line up the distributor, because the spline, this from here, it's an adapter to a spline fitting with the collar, and you can mess it up. So, thinking about it, it's all buttoned up. What's the least intrusive way to get in here and figure this out? I think it's to take the timing cover off and then advance this to where the timing marks align, and then we know for sure top dead center, number one cylinder. Remembering on Ford it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So number one cylinder right here. First thing I did was back down the bolts for the oil pan, and then that allowed me to then go ahead and knock those loose. We got a timing mark right here. We're going to line it up, assuming the timing mark on there. Now, given how stiff this thing is, I fear that I'm going to strip that bolt. So I want to make sure it gets turning first by the flywheel. Now that it is turning a little bit, I can do this way. Sounds like we've got good compression. And that right there, we should now be timed top dead center, number 1 cylinder. Okay, and one of the things that is recommended is making sure you got some assembly lube on these gears. Okay, for the sake of assembly, removed the adapter for the Magneto, and now we just go ahead and put this together. Get everything started. This key is offset from the center. And I don't know how well that comes through in the camera. Same is true with the end of the camshaft, as well as the keyway on the opposite side of this little button adapter. So what we want to do is make sure it goes, and therefore it only goes in one way. It's a clever way that the lack of timing marks doesn't bite you. Ford came up with. So there's two, obviously, one, if you put it on wrong, it's an eccentric, but that can damage the cover as well as its adapter. So if you put it on correctly, it is obviously centered. Once it's obviously centered, then this slips on and we'll hold it in place. We line up the holes. Get a couple of these countersunk socket head cap screws on. And last is plate with which our Magneto actually attaches. Now, what we would like to do, set this at 0 on here. Because built into the Magneto is 20 degrees advance. So with this on, we got number 1 here. Put a mark in Sharpie right there. Took the cap off, and oh, by the way, there's a tick mark right there for number 1 as well. So, okay, so we got this splined adapter to keyway, and 3 bolts. That ain't gonna work. We have our pulley that we need, and it is I guess it's common to go ahead and cut these, which is almost a shame. This is where the fan goes, but as I understand it, it won't. This pulley setup with this extension for the fan to go on it will not fit in an A frame, though we're putting it in a 32 frame. Regardless, this needs to go here, and I put this on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this off, take the Magneto off, and then I'm going to go ahead and put this on the way it is, put the Magneto on, see if it fits, and then go from there. Okay, so we got to push this all the way down so that it lines, all the pulleys line up. And the bolt I have is too short, and we don't want to just get a couple threads on there and start cranking on it and strip the crank. So I've got a piece of all thread that's 5/8, 18, and what we're going to do is we're going to make an installation tool. Okay. There's plenty of strength there. I don't have to worry about pulling any threads out, stripping out the crank. And this is really the way you're supposed to put any setup on. Plus, one of the important things is you want to make sure, since we're timed, we don't want the crank to turn. So might have gone a hair far, so we're going to stop there. Now, one of the challenges on the last one I wired up was I screwed up on length. I kept making, like, the number 8, I made, like, got to tug on it to get it to line up. So I am sure this time I'm 100% going to err on the side of too long and get it all tied up in the belt or something, you know. Remember, Fords go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And because I get confused, I always double check by checking the interweb. Okay, so other than having to take this on, this on and off a couple times, pretty straightforward. Biggest thing was getting this thing on top dead center number 1. Once it dawned on me, it was just a matter of pulling the timing cover and getting the timing marks lined up. Came pretty easy. Did not cut our pulley because not sure if I actually need to or not. Would like to get a fan, and I think they got spacers in them. They got different length spacers in them. Now, talking with a gentleman, putting these into an A-frame, you want to cut that. But we're going to be putting this into a 32 frame with an A body. And we're going to be able to, we'll be able to play with it. We can adjust it. This thing is that much closer to being running on the run stand. Hopefully we got a video on that coming real soon. If you got a lot out of this video and enjoyed it, please hit the like button. That really helps us out a lot with algorithm. And we all know almighty algorithm rules all. And if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button. And until next time, have a flathead-tastic day.